Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to take a look at the miners, the maxed miners on Townhall 13. How do they work? Do they work? And can you use them for, I don't know, like War and Legend League attacks? I will show you everything you need to know for this new miner level. And well, if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And well, I would say let's get into it. Let's get into the army composition. On my army, I'm using a couple of wall breakers as well. I'm using the ram or the slammer to open up the walls for my queen as well if I'm getting a little bit deeper into the base. I'm using a P.E.K.K.A. and an ice golem and the loon in the CC. I think that's a really strong combination from now on because the loon is soaking up black mines. The ice golem and the P.E.K.K.A. are tanking really nicely for your queen. And this is just overall a really great combination for the offense. So let's get into the first attack, but if you want to support me, support the channel, if you like the videos, make sure to use this creator code iTzu, and you can find it in your settings, in more settings, and then scroll to the bottom, and over there you can type it in. It doesn't matter whether it's small or big letters, and well, every 7 days the link or the code expires. But let's get into the first attack, and we're facing basically at the moment a Townhall 12. Except the main building. We will get a bit higher and higher over the video, and we are going to face a little bit of scatter shots and obviously a couple of more maxed defenses. So let's check out the first attack, because on this one, the reason why I'm bringing wall breakers is sometimes it's just not worth it to use the siege machine for opening only one wall. Exactly, this base is an example for that, because we want to only get into the tunnel compartment. We obviously could use the ram to get in there, but it feels kind of wasted, only opening one wall and basically not really tanking too much, because our queen can get in there with a couple of rages as well. So there's no need for our ram at that moment, and what you're going for basically with your queen is normally splash damage or pathing, one of those two things. On this one, it's going to be splash damage and pathing at the same time. The Townhall is really strong on the max Townhall level, and it's just dealing crazy amount of damage. In addition to that, normally always there are ground skeletons, which are super annoying and the biggest counter to miners. This is why I'm not 100% sure yet whether miners will be viable. The troop itself, miners on its own, they're super strong. I think maybe even one of the strongest troops in the game. But the issue with that is that they're really easy to counter, which means if you're having 3 ground skeletons, maybe versus the Royal Champ or any other reason for that, it's really hard for them if you can't take out the ground skeletons with your queen charge. So having right now in Legend League a really air heavy meta with a lot of dragon attacks, a lot of people are opting into air skeletons. So this basically means that we can bring more minor or ground attacks with basically ignoring the ground skeletons, because there are no ground skeletons in the base. So let's get started with the miners. Miners are coming in. Like I said, there's no scatter shots on this one. We're getting into a couple of scatter shots later on the video, but let's check out first, basically as a dip on the first attack. We are having our miners going through the base really strong. On the outside, we have our king distracting everything. And the main thing is now get your Royal Champ in the back and to get a couple of cannons out of the way, because normally on a miner attack, you have those really spread out defenses in the end, always with a couple of storages in between, which makes it really hard for your miners to finish up the base. But with the Royal Champion, it means you can easily take those out. Like just send the Royal Champion for the back end and just take out the last couple of cannons and archer towers, and this is what's happening right now. It's a crazy big overkill for us, and this is going to be the first triple of the video. But like I said, make sure to stay tuned, because we are having a couple of scatter shots against us in the next video or the next attack as well. And I can already predict pretty much that those scatter shots are not as scary as most of you guys think to miners. Miners are really strong, so let's make sure that I can show that to you guys. So on this one, we were able to basically dip the Townhall 12, and it was a really convincing attack in my opinion. Once again, the siege machine, you have to be flexible on that one. Sometimes you have to mix in the slammer, which means that you have to cook up the other siege machines as well, which means you have to request, I don't know, like you can always request the slammer or the ram, that's totally up to you. And the other siege machine, you should have that in your own camps, so you can switch in the beginning of an attack. Let's check out the next attack, and this one is going to be 2 scatter shots. So let's see how we can deal with that base. We have a couple of options to go in. First off, we can obviously go for the Townhall, because like I said, normally there are ground skeletons, which are super annoying for our miners. The other option is going for the 2 scatter shots, because they might be scary for our miners once again. So let's check it out how this can go. Like last second, I rethought about, okay, let's start on the complete other side. Let's go for the scatter shots, because they might be a bit more scary than I think. So let's try to get in the queen charge over there. Once again, we do not have to use the ram or the siege machine early. We're having war breakers, which means we can use the siege machine a little bit delayed, so we can get further into the base. That's the idea of bringing the war breakers in this army composition. And well, sometimes you can just use the ram, the siege machine, or the slammer, whatever, for funneling your miners as well. Like using the king and a siege is always a really strong combination. So let's get into the first part of the base. We're taking out already the first Inferno Tower, using the poison for the enemy clan castle. By the way, one of the best and strongest defenses at the moment in Legend League. You can use 45 archers, that's one option. But the option which I'm choosing right now is 15 archers and 2 ice golems, which is really strong as well. So feel free to use one of those two. They're really strong at the moment. So our queen is going deeper into the base. We have to start the support for our queen really soon, because, well, otherwise our queen will die. So we have to get rid of a little bit of damage on our queen. And another important thing is that those miners, like those attacks, are way quicker than before, which means the queen charge miner attack, you can start your miners way later than you could on Town Hall 12. The reason for that is you always have the royal champion on the back end, which means he's not only clearing most of the time the defenses, but he's as well helping with the cleanup. So on this attack, I started around at 120 with my miners, and we will see in the end how much time we have left to, well, just get rid of the rest of the base. So miners are really fast at the moment compared to Town Hall 12, because like I said, just the additional firepower of the new hero. And once again, our miners going through the base. We are having 2 free spells. I like it a lot, because sometimes you're facing single Inferno Towers, which means just you need to get rid of those and need to charge into single Inferno Towers. So you need the free spells, and sometimes you can just use it for a lot of splash damage, like the scatter shots, like Inferno Towers, or like the Giga Inferno Tower, stuff like that. And on this one, we still have most of our hero abilities, which means we have the Queen, we have the Warden, and we have still our Royal Champ ability. Using the Royal Champ's ability to get rid of most of the buildings in the end, and this means once again that we're having an additional cleanup troop, which means time is not too big of an issue. We have 10 seconds left in the end, which means we start at 120 and we finish with the miner in 1 minute and 10 seconds. This is crazy fast for miners, and this is one of the biggest weaknesses of Queen Charge miners basically done, which means once again, Queen Charge miners got way stronger on Town Hall 13. The only weakness I see, and it depends on the meta overall, is that ground skeletons can counter them really hard. So we have to wait how the meta will evolve. What are the strongest strategies? What are the weakest strategies? If it's going to be ground skeleton based meta somehow, then we have a little bit of problems with our miner strategy. But otherwise, so far, this strategy is killing it. So I would say we will try to jump into the next attack, making sure that we are finding once again, hopefully at least 1 scatter shots defenses. So we can somehow deal with that. This is going to be the next base, and let's check it out how this works. Once again, we have a couple of options going in, and on this one I will try to show you guys why I bring those wall breakers. So let's check it out. We have the Town Hall kind of separated over there with the single Inferno Tower, so we do not want to mess with that. That's totally fine, the miners will deal with that. Let's check out, we will try to find some other area to charge. Once again, one of the main things to try to take out with your Queen Charge is the splash damage. The scatter shots is one of the most, or one of the strongest strategies, not strategies, defenses, which is dealing splash damage. So you guys have to make sure that you try to take that out really early. So We are doing the queen charge in the beginning, doing the CC really early, which is nice for us, using the poison for everything. And now in a second you guys will see why I bring the wall breakers. The reason for that is that I try to wall break in my queen early so I can delay the ram. This means that the ram can get way deeper than I would only, like if I would only use the ram gets probably maybe 1, maybe 2 layers. If I am going for the wall breaker into ram play, then my ram is getting way deeper into the base. So let's check it out how this goes. We're using a test wall breaker in a second. Alright, we already used the test wall breaker. Now the rest of the wall breakers coming in, getting the first wall open, which means we can reach now the enemy royal champ, the enemy scatter shot already. The next step is getting into the core, and once again, if we would have not broke that wall, our queen would have never went to the core, or like our ram would have never gotten to the core, because the royal champ would have shot at the ram, the scatter shot would have shot at our ram. So there's just way too much damage in Townhall 13. As soon as you're getting upgraded and well developed with that town level, there's just way too much damage, way too much ground damage for the ram that it's actually getting far into the base. So you have to use those kind of like sneaky plays to get it deeper, to get the ram deeper into the base. So for us now, the ram actually got next to the eagle, which means even though our queen is walking on the outside, this means that our ram, or the CC in the ram, can take out the enemy eagle. And we do not have to care anymore about that with our miners. Miners are coming in, getting closer to the town hall. Tornado trap, they do not care. That's a nice thing about the miners. And another thing about the miners is that they're dodging the giant, the giga bomb, which means it's easy going. Less damage on our miners. Really easy cruise through that base. Queen ability. We still have our warden ability. We still have our royal champ. On this one, I'm using the royal champ on the right side just to get the miners back into the base. I do not want them to spread out too much, or otherwise we're running into time issues. Once again, you see 30 seconds left. We started our miner part really late, but because we're having the royal champ, everything is looking really good. We still have 2 looms. We're using those on the Inferno Tower just to make sure that our royal champ maybe is not having to go there. With the ability, she's damaging the Inferno Tower, but this means, once again, we're getting the triple done. So I hope I was able to show you guys how to use the new max miners on Townhall 13. They're not weak, they're by far a really strong strategy, and this means for you guys, you can still use them. Kinda easy troop to use. Really strong in the combination with the queen charge, for example. I would not recommend using mass miners. I feel like that's one of the weaker strategies. Kind of like the Sui Hawk at the moment, which got nerfed a lot as well with adding all of those, like with another hero. And well, I hope you guys liked today's video. I hope I see you guys tomorrow back to another video. And I will promise today was the option update, which means really soon there's going to be the next legend base. Wait for that. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye bye.